Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today. What I'm going to do today is show you the Mindy's Magic EA. This is an EA that I have been developing over the course of the last year, but it's actually based on a trading strategy that I have used for 20 years. When I started trading Forex 20 years ago, the situation back then was that Forex trading was just becoming a thing, okay? It had only been around just a little while, and first I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Can somebody chat me a message in the chat box just to make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear and that you're hearing me okay? Okay, loud and clear. Thanks, Cole. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody again. Thank you. So anyway, when I started trading Forex 20 years ago, there wasn't anything at all in the way of Forex trading education, right? Because back then, what the deal was is most of the brokers wanted you to open an account, and since nobody really knew how to trade Forex, they wanted you to let them trade your Forex accounts for you, right? And so ultimately everybody lost all their money. But I was always just bullheaded enough that I figure if somebody's gonna lose my money, it's gonna be me, not somebody else. So I had to teach myself how to trade Forex. And I actually was a business consultant when I started trading Forex, and I was also kind of a math whiz at the time. Well, all my life I was kind of a math nerd, and so I have all my life figured out that if there's a problem, it doesn't really matter what the problem is. There is always a mathematical solution to just about any problem that's out there, no matter what, no matter if it's a math question or not, there's always a math solution. And so anyway, what I did is I literally developed a mathematical formula that allowed me to predict when Forex price action was moving into a territory where it was overreactive, because when prices overreact, they act like rubber bands. They will always snap back. And so I learned early on that trying to trend trade Forex was a losing battle. And if I could figure out when prices were overreacting and I could make my trades at those times, then I could make money on those snapbacks or those pullbacks, right? And so anyway, what I did was I created a trading strategy based on that, and that's how I have traded for literally 20 years. Now, as with everything, nothing is ever right 100% of the time, right? And so what I also figured out early on with Forex is that if there was a way to counteract a trade when it was going bad, which is actually called hedging now, that you could stop the bleeding in your account and you would never have to suffer big losses. But it's all about knowing when to counteract a trade that's going bad, and then having a solution for getting out of that hedged situation in a way where you can make money. And so anyway, that is the trading strategy that I have used for 20 years. Now, this is what you're looking at now is a screenshot of my website, which is mindyyost.com. And I do teach and mentor other Forex students. And so one thing that I want to show you right up front is that if you scroll down my website a little ways, you can see that over here on the left, I do offer mentoring services. Now, a couple of years ago, I actually started doing a lot of the Forex education programs for a company called TradeSmart University, TradeSmart U. You can buy my mentoring services through TradeSmart if you go to this link right here that says more information. But if you do that, you would have to buy a year of mentoring services. But if you scroll down a little bit further, right here where it says try mentoring on a month-to-month basis, if you use this link right here, down here under try mentoring for a month on a month-to-month basis, this is a monthly subscription to my mentoring service, and you can cancel this at any time, right? So if you wanted to try mentoring for a month or two, you can do that if you use this link at the bottom. This link will sign you up for a year, okay? But my mentoring service is $500 a month. Now for that, what you get is unlimited access to me. I keep a GoToMeeting call line open where you can literally see my screen, watch every trade I make, ask me any question that you want, and during the time that I am mentoring you, I literally teach you to trade the same way I trade. Now, you're probably saying, well, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of the mentoring service is I'm going to teach you to trade exactly the way I do. And the last time I purposely took a loss on a trade was before Obama was president. Okay, and actually it was several years before Obama was president, so I don't even know how many years that's been. Okay, at least 10, maybe 11 years since I've taken a loss on a trade intentionally. Okay, now I've had some finger slips where I've accidentally closed some trades for losses, but you know, that's going to happen to anybody. But I can literally teach you how to trade Forex and never ever take a loss in your account. So that's what I wanted to let you know first. But that's not the reason we're here today. Today we're here to talk about the EA that I developed that essentially trades similarly to how I trade. Okay? What it's called Mindy's Magic EA. Now, this EA has been in development for over a year. I sent the first round of programming to the programmers January 2nd of last year, okay? And the CEA, over the course of this past year, we've been developing the EA on a very intensive basis, and had I known at the time it was going to take a year of constant work, I probably wouldn't have done it, because I really am kind of lazy, and I really never would have signed myself up for that much work intentionally. Okay, but anyway, that's the way it played out. So anyway, I do feel very, very confident now that we have all of the bugs out of the program, and of course we've enhanced the EA about 20 times as well over the course of the last year, because we kept seeing more and more things like, oh, this would be nice to have, and that would be nice to have, and things like that. But what the EA is meant to do, it is not meant to be a replacement for your manual trading. Okay, so if you're a manual trader and you're really good at picking out trades, you should continue to do that. But what the EA is for is it is a wonderful enhancement to your manual trading, because of course, as you know, EAs are all built on algorithms, and so they're looking for very specific situations in the price action before they're going to create a trade, right? And anytime you're trading Forex, what you're looking to do is you're looking to put sells in at high prices or buys in at low prices, because that's how we make money in Forex, right? By riding waves of sells and then buys and then sells and then buys, right? And so anyway, what this EA is meant to do, it's not meant to take every spike and every dip that happens in the market. It's meant to take spikes that have a very high probability of being, profitable trades, right? So with this EA, you are not going to see the EA take every little wiggle that happens in the price action. But what it's looking for very specific things in the chart patterns, and it uses all kinds of other things other than chart patterns to pick the trades. But what it's looking for trades that would be situations where there would be a very, very high, a 95% probability of having a successful outcome on the trade that it's going to make. Okay, so, and this is a chart which, if we were going to look at this price action chart after the fact, what we would probably say is, oh, I wish I could have had a sell trade here and a buy trade here and a sell trade here and a buy trade here, and maybe you'd say here too, but whatever. So, but anyway, this is kind of where the general areas are where we would look at this chart on a historical basis and say, gee, I wish I could have had this trade or that trade. But what I want to show you is that, in fact, the EA did pick out most of these trades. So if we go to this chart, this is straight out of the MetaTrader, right? Straight out of the trading program, and we look at where the EA actually placed trades, right? We see that it's pretty much the same areas where we would have looked at the chart and said that we wanted trades, right? Now it's not going to get all of them. The two charts are not identical, right? But like we would have thought, yeah, we would love to have a trade right in here, and the EA didn't put a trade in there, right? Now the reason it didn't is because the algorithm was not seeing a situation that qualified, right? But it certainly got this area, it got these lows, right? Same general area where we would have wanted the trades if we would have looked at this chart after the fact, right? So that's what the EA is supposed to do, right? Now, the other thing too is that the EA is set up in a way that once it gets a trade and gets and that trade becomes profitable, it's going to add a profit stop on the trade, meaning that you should never let a good trade go bad, right? That's what I do when I'm trading live and I'm trading manually. If I have a trade, once I have a trade that's profitable, my theory is never, ever let a good trade go bad, right? So that's the other thing that the EA is going to do. So what the EA is going to do, whoops, I can move that out of the way for a minute. The EA is going to place trades for you. Just a second, let me bring over this list and I'll just show you what it's going to do. Okay, so the EA is going to place trades for you. Then it's going to add what I call profit stops on those trades once they become profitable to ensure that they don't go negative, right? It's going to move the stop as your trade gets more profitable. The stops on your trades will automatically move for you, so that's called a trailing stop. That feature has been programmed in to the EA. And if a trade goes bad, what's going to happen is the EA is going to automatically put a hedge on the trade. but it's also going to put on something that I call a fixer trade, which means that your hedge isn't going to be stuck there forever as the price goes back towards your original trade. What's going to happen is the fixer trade will buy off the hedge at a time when the original trade no longer needs to have a hedge. Okay? And then it's also going to manage the profit targets. All of these things you can set in the EA to be anything that you want them to be. So, and I'll show you that in a moment. So what does that mean for you as a trader? Well, for one thing, it means that your trading platform is going to be able to make money for you when you're asleep, when you're at work, when you're just at the grocery store, or watching football games, or whatever. The EA will work for you 24 hours a day when the Forex market is open, right? And so the thing is, you can set up the EA on as few or as many Forex pairs as you want. It'll work on absolutely any Forex pair. Now, I like to use it on the USD pairs, right? I also like to use it on the JPY pairs, right? But you can use it on as many pairs as you want, or as few pairs as you want. And I will help you if you decide that you want to buy the EA or try it on a demo account. I will help you figure out what the best strategy for you to use is with the EA, as far as how big to make the trades, how many pairs you want to run it on, when you want to run it in a way that it's going to make more trades, but maybe there'd be a chance that the trades would hedge. You can take that chance. Or you might be somebody that says, oh, I don't want to take any chances of having very many hedges. I want to keep my hedges at a minimum. And if that's the case, that's okay too. I can show you how to set it up to where it'll take fewer trades, but the quality of the trades will be higher, right? So let me show you a little bit about how the EA works. When the EA is on your trading platform, you literally have to put the EA on each pair on a chart for each pair individually. And here's the thing. Here's the chart. This is my MetaTrader chart. Okay, not much to it, right? Because I don't even need to see the chart. I don't really care where the price action is or where the price bars are or anything, because the MetaTrader chart that I use is nothing more than a little empty chart box, right? Because all it is a placeholder to hold the EA. The EA is going to decide when to make the trades, right? So when it's on the chart, you know that the EA is on and it's working if you have this little happy face up here in the corner of the chart. So by virtue of the fact that it's got a smiley face here, I know that the EA is on and that it's working. And so if the Forex market was open right now, what would happen is this EA would be processing data every second of every minute, trying to find a situation that would be a price action situation where the AUD-USD pair was ready to make a reversal in its price action. And when that happened, the EA is going to put a trade in, right? Now, what you see here in this gray box, this is called the dashboard for the EA. It tells you, the name of the EA. It has a pause button, which, if you ever are afraid that the EA is doing something it shouldn't do, all you have to do is go pause it, and it'll stop processing. It'll stop looking for trades in AUD/USD. But it tells you what the set file name is that we're currently using. It tells you how many currently open positions that we have in AUD/USD. And it tells you what the spread is right this moment, right? And because the Forex market is closed, the spreads are very wide on the weekend, right? So right now, this pair at my broker that I'm using is 9.9 pips. That's a hugely wide spread. But typically, when the Forex markets are going, these spreads are not this wide, right? In fact, I use what they call a low spread broker. And so what happens is that most of the time when the markets are running, assuming that we're not in the middle of a news event or a flash crash or something like that, the spread on this pair will normally be something less than a half of a pip. So it will usually say 0.5, or it'll flicker around somewhere between 0.4 and 0.6 or 7, you know, but all of the spreads run a little bit different spreads. I mean, all of the pairs run a little bit different spreads. You guys know that, right? So anyway, and spreads can be very different depending on what broker you're using, right? So some brokers have much tighter spreads than other brokers. Some brokers charge a small commission. Some brokers don't charge any commission. And usually if it's a broker that charges no commission, their spreads will be wider. Because, you know, brokers have to make money somehow, right? So anyway, that's kind of just the basics, but now let's take a look inside of the EA, and I'll show you some of the features of the EA. So on this chart for AUD/USD, if I want to see the settings of the EA for this pair, I just right click on the chart, go to Expert Advisor Properties, and this brings up the properties. The properties are the specifics of how the EA is set up for this pair. Okay, now the first thing that we see up here at the top is the magic number. Now magic numbers are very important when you're using EAs, because magic numbers are kind of like tattoos. And so any trade that is created by the EA in the AUD/USD pair, any trade that's created is going to be tattooed with this number. And that means that this set of criteria is going to manage that trade. And so with these magic numbers, you have to have a different magic number for each EA. And you're going, well, wait a minute, you're only selling me one EA. Yeah, I am only selling you one EA. But every time you take the EA and you put it on a different chart, it's like having 2 EAs running, 3 EAs, 4. And so it's like I'm having 12, in this case, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It's like I actually have 14 different EAs running, right? Because I have a different magic number in the properties for each one of the pairs that I'm running the EA on, right? So magic numbers are very important, and you cannot have duplicate magic numbers going on. So every single one of these pairs that I'm using the EA on has to have a unique magic number, right? So anyway, that's the first element here. Now, the magic wands, there's 4 magic wands up here. This is dictating how the EA is finding the trades, right? So we'll get into this if you buy the EA, and If you don't, it's not really anything that you'd need to change if you're just going to use the EA on a demo account. But we'll get into that for those of you who purchase the EA. But here's the thing. The EA can be set up for any time frame. So if you like to trade using 4-hour bars or 1-hour bars or 30-minute bars or whatever, the EA can be used on any time frame. I like using it on the 15-minute chart because I like to use it just kind of as a scalping system, right? I like to use the 15-minute charts as a scalping. I like to get a lot of little trades, right? So that's the way I'm using it. You can tell the EA very specifically if you wanted to make both buy and sell positions, if you want buy positions only or sell positions only. And there are situations when you would want to tell the EA, do not make any buy trades or do not make any sell trades. Because let's just say that you're looking at a chart and you're looking at a daily chart, right? And you know that when the price was up in this area that we were, high on this chart, higher than we'd been in a couple of years or whatever. Well, when you're at an extreme high, a high that you haven't been at for over a year or so, then you're probably going to want to be telling the EA in this situation, in through here or in through here, and I don't want to get stuck with any buy trades if the price starts coming down. So you would probably go in and change the EA and tell it make sell trades only, right? Or if the price is really low, lower than it's been in a really long time, and maybe you're using Bollinger Bands or moving averages or trend lines or whatever, right? And you're way above a trend line, or you have a reason to believe that your trend line's going to break and the price is going to start going the other way, then you can dictate what the EA's going to take, and you can tell it, you want only sell trades or only buy trades or both. So it's totally, functional. You can make it function for practically any strategy you could come up with. Okay. Now, the next thing is you can tell it how many trades that you want it to make. And so in this situation right here, I'm telling the EA that I do not want it to make more than 6 trades for, per scenario. A scenario is buys or sells. So if it's making buy trades, I want it to absolutely not make more than 6, and that would be 6 buys or 6 sells for this particular pair. But you can make the number anything you want it to be. And a lot of that depends on the size of the trading account that you're using. But if you buy the EA, I'll help you have a very thorough understanding of all of this so that you know how to set it up. And then the next element, it tells how big to make the trades, and I'm telling it 1 mini lot, right? 0.1 is 1/10 of a lot, so this is 1 mini lot. Now, Smart Blocker, okay, what that's going to do is that's going to identify when new trend moves are forming, right? And if there's a new trend move going on that's forming to the upside for the price to start moving up, you're going to want to block any potential sell trades from going in too soon, correct? And that's what this does. The Smart Block stops legitimate trades if the EA sees something in the price that is indicative of a new trend move. So what will happen is the Smart Block will stop those trades for however long you tell it. And in this case, I've told it 30 minutes or two 15-minute bars, right? And then trend grabber, if you turn it on, what it would do is if the EA blocks a trade, a legitimate sell trade from going in, because the EA thinks there's a new trend move forming, it's going to put on a buy trade to try to take advantage of the new trend move. And you can turn that on or off. Okay, then if the EA makes a trade and then the price keeps moving, what's going to happen is that it's going to trade the same way I do. And here's what I do. Let's go back to a shorter term time chart. Let's go to a 15-minute time chart. And then how about we just take part of it. Let's say that I think I'm trading manually, right? And let's say that right in through here I think it's time to do a sell trade. So if I did a sell trade right in here, right, and the price just kept going up and I didn't get a profit stop on my sell trade, what the next element is it's going to put in additional sell trades. So, and that's what I do when I trade manually. Let's say that I put a sell trade in right here because I think we're at the top of the game, because we don't know what all these other bars are yet, right? And if we're in this trade, I might, or if this was the current bar, I might think this is a good spot to do a sell. And when I'm trading manually, I might do a sell there. But then the price kept going up, right? So what do? If I thought it was a good spot for a sell here, then if the price keeps going up, I'm going to think it's probably an even better spot for a sell here, and maybe another sell up here, right? So when I'm trading manually, in a situation like this, I might have 2 or 3 trades going on for sells. And when the price is at the top of the game, all of my sells at that point are negative, aren't they? But they're not going to stay negative for long, right? Because, a couple hours later, 2 of them are good. A couple hours after that, all of them are good, right? You have to understand, Forex prices don't do anything except move up and down. And they move up and down while they're moving up. And they move up and down while they're moving down, but ultimately they can only do 2 things. They can go up and they can go down. That's it. That's all they can do, right? So anyway, this next element in the EA, though, what you're doing is you're telling it how many series trades to take. And I'm saying I want it to take up to 3, and they have to be at least 12 pips apart. You can make these numbers anything you want them to be. Now, here's one of the really smart things about this EA, something that you won't see in almost any EA that you buy anywhere else. This EA knows when not to take trades. And so what I'm telling it in this next instruction is I'm saying do not take any legitimate trade in this pair, this AUD-USD pair, if the spread exceeds 0.8 pips, right? So anytime the spread is at 9.9 pips, like it is right now, right? Or at the end of the trading day, right before it went to 9.9, it was like 4.7 for about 20 minutes, right? But anytime the spread is more than this amount, the EA will not take a trade. Because who wants to go into a trade and have to fight a 9.9 pip spread, or 4.7 pip spread, or 2.3 pip spread, right? When the spread's wide, you don't want to take trades, and the EA knows that, and you're defining when it can and can't take trades right here. Okay, now the next thing it does, it's going to add a profit stop on the trades. And a profit stop is like a stop loss. Most of you have never heard of a profit stop before because it's something that I kind of invented. Okay, so Most of you are familiar with using stop losses on your trades. Well, if you wanted to, you could set this up to be a stop loss. But I say, why should you ever take a loss on a Forex trade, right? So anyway, what I do is I set it up as a profit stop. So when the trade is 4 pips profitable, it's going to add a stop to protect 3 pips of profit, right? And that's a profit stop. And then, but you can set these criteria to anything you want them to be. Then it's going to trail the stop. So after the profit stop has been placed on the trade, as the trade gets more profitable by 1 more pip, it's going to move the profit stop up 1 pip to protect 1 more pip of profit. You can also set immediately, every trade that opens will have a profit target on it. And in this case, I'm just looking for very small scalpy trades. So I'd have very small profit targets, right? So I'm saying just, if the trade gets 10 pips profitable, just take it out, book it. And that's what I'm telling it right here. Now, the next thing is for the hedge. Hedging is essentially making an opposite trade, right? That's what hedging means. And so what I'm telling it is that if the trade goes 100 pips negative, that it will hedge the trade. Okay? And then the next instruction is, do I want to have it hedge fixers or not? And I've said true on that. All of this stuff you can do true or false, turn it off or on, whatever you need to do, right? The quick fixer. Here you can use the quick fixer or not, right? But I've decided that I do want to use the quick fixer. So what the quick fixer is if the trade, if I have an original trade that goes 100 pips ugly, it's going to add a hedge. But a quick fixer is an additional trade that's going to protect the hedge. Okay? And so it's actually an OCO order. It's actually 2 trades, only one of which can pick up, the other one will cancel, because it's a one cancels the other. So, somewhere either 2 pips above or 3 pips below the hedge, I will have the quick fixer pick up, right? Then what we have is we have the stop, the profit stop for the quick fixer. And when you have your profit stop set correctly for your quick fixer, what's going to happen is your quick fixer is going to close the hedge when the hedge is mildly negative, meaning the original trade no longer needs to be hedged. And then the quick fixer will get a profit stop on it, and then the profit stop on the quick fixer will move. So sometimes you end up making a lot of money on these quick fixers. So it's not a bad thing actually with this EA when you have trades that actually do go ugly enough to hedge, because it's going to hedge the trade, it's going to fix the hedge. If the trade goes 100 pips ugly again after it's been fixed once, it's going to put another hedge on and quick fix it again and again and again if it needs to. Okay? So the thing is, the EA, if you just let it run, it will ultimately close every trade you make for a profitable outcome every time. Okay, and that's something I don't think any other EA can do anywhere in the world. Okay, now the other thing about it is you can use or not use any of these functions. So let's say that you're trading in the United States and you're not allowed to hedge your trades. You can still use the EA to enter trades, right? You can still have profit stops. You can still have the profit targets, but you would have to turn the hedging aspect off because you can't use hedging in the United States. So I'm suggesting if you live in the United States, I would highly recommend that what you do is that you trade with a foreign broker who will allow you to use hedging and also allow you to use a lot higher leverage and also allow you not to have to trade using the FIFO, first in, first out rules. But if you are trading in the United States, you can absolutely still use the EA. You would just have to turn off some of the more advanced functions of the EA. Okay? Now, the other thing about this EA is it knows when to trade and when not to trade, right? You can tell it that you do not want it to trade at certain times of the day. And I have it to where it turns itself off 30 minutes before the end of every trading day, and it doesn't turn back on until an hour into the new trading day. And the reason why I don't trade during this hour-and-a-half period is because that's when the spreads are the highest, and sometimes the brokers are resetting their servers, and the spreads will go for a small instance, maybe for 5 seconds or something, the spreads will go to 0. Well, that's going to put in a whole bunch of really bad trades. And then when the spread pops back up to 27 or something, you're going to have a whole bunch of trades that are going to be super ugly. So I simply don't trade during that hour-and-a-half period, but you can set this to anything that you want. It also knows that when there is a red event on the Forex news calendars, it's going to turn itself off during that time. It's going to pause out taking trades during those red events. Because, when the price is really volatile during red news events, high impact news events, you can get into some really bad trades, right? So we're telling it to stop trading 10 minutes prior until 21 minutes after any red news event. So it's not going to trade during those highly volatile times, right? Now let's say that you didn't want to make a market entry on your trades. You can also set the CA up in a way where every time it sees a legitimate trade entry, instead of doing a market entry right then, you can tell it to do a limit entry, and you can set it up to make a limit entry 5 pips above the price or 5 pips below, depending on if it's a buy or a sell trade. You could also say that you want to use stop orders, and so you could have it place a stop order, and then the stop orders automatically move. They trail just like a stop on a trade. A stop order, the way that I have it programmed, will move into better positioning the same way a stop on a trade would move into better positioning, right? So you have total flexibility here. You can use market orders, limit orders, or stop orders for the actual entry of each trade. Okay, and so you can also set the slippage. Now, slippage is more dictated by your broker than by you. Okay, so if you're using the EA and you call me 2 days later and you say, but I haven't had any trades open at all, then it's probably an issue where your broker requires a certain amount of slippage flexibility that you have to key in here. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2. Some brokers I've seen need as much as 3, but the broker that I use doesn't have any requirements as far as how close I can put orders to the actual price and things like that. So for me, the appropriate number is 0. Okay, and then the panel is true. This is the panel, so I'm showing the panel. If I don't want to show the panel, I just turn it off. And then the screen comments are similar to the panel, but it will literally be a little 2 or 3 lines of text there that'll tell you what's going on. Like if it's paused or something, it'll say unavailable for trading right now, or it'll tell you what's going on. So anyway, this is all of the properties in the EA. Everything is absolutely definable as per the user's specifications. And for anybody who buys the EA today, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on this evening. We're going to take about an hour off after this presentation, and then we're going to I'll actually send you guys your EAs for demo accounts, or live if you want to go that route right away. And then this evening from 6 to however long it takes, everybody can come back in. We will all load up the EA on a new demo account first, and then your live accounts if you want to. I would strongly recommend that you use this EA on a demo account first for a month before you put it on a live account, right? But because you have to get used to how it works and get used to what you're going to see and things like that. But here is what you're going to see. Now, let's go to the account history on this account. Now, this account, I just started trading it last week because we just got version 38 last Sunday. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a demo account where I could have it start with the most recent version of the EA. And so anyway, here's what you can see, that this account was started on the 7th of January. That was last Sunday. Okay, and so if we put these trades in order of the time that they closed, right, what we see is that a lot of these trades closed for very small amounts. But like this one, see, the price, this trade opened at 81.79, and I put a 3 pip stop on it when it was 4 pips profitable. I didn't, but the EA did. And the price backed up and it stopped it out at the 3 pips. So this was 3 pips. This one, on the other hand, made it to the profit target. Every trade, when they open, you can see that these trades that are still leftovers here from last week, each one of them has a profit target. The profit target is automatically generated when the trade opens. Now, if one of these trades ultimately gets hedged, during the time that the trade is hedged, the profit target will go away. Because if you have a hedged trade, you do not want a profit stop or a profit target on it during the time that it's hedged, because that would defeat the purpose. The whole purpose of a hedge is to offset a trade. So you can't have one closing, when that's going on. So the EA knows when to take the profit targets back off and put them back on. But in this case, this trade closed for the 8 pip. I guess I had an 8 pip profit target on it because it went from 83 to 91, right? And 8 pips in this particular pair is $6.02, right? So, but the thing is, a lot of people look at this list and they go, my God, you got stopped out on almost every trade. Yes, I did, but I got stopped out for a profit on every trade, right? So I use stops completely different than most people. Most people only use stops to guarantee themselves a loss on their trades, not a profit, right? I call them profit stops. I don't call them stop losses, because every time I'm stopped out of a trade, I'm making money. Maybe not much money, but some money, right? So anyway, that's just a matter of my trading style. But you can set the EA up to be a stop loss if you want to. I just don't know why anybody would want to do that. But what you see, that every trade in here, what it has in common with every other trade is every single trade has closed for profit. Okay, so over the course of last week, we actually started with $10,000. We booked 387. See, the profit and loss from last week right down here was $387. Okay, now the thing is, we do still have these trades that are left over from last week. And right now, this negative balance here on the negative PL is very deceiving, because the spreads right now are reflected in this negative balance, and the spreads are very high right now. But actually, I was watching this on Friday afternoon about an hour or so before the spreads got really wide, and this balance was fluctuating between $220 and $240. Right. And so there is that situation where until all the trades close, you know, you will have a negative PL here. But this is what free margin or usable margin is for. You know, your free margin, sometimes called usable margin, is money that it's in your account that you're supposed to use to manage your trades while they are ugly and before they come profitable. So, right? So, the way that I trade, negative PL in the PL column is always temporary, right? Sooner or later, the only two things that can happen to any one of these trades is the price will turn around, go toward the trade, and it will become profitable, or it will go negative to the point that it will hedge. And if it hedges, that's okay, because the hedge protects our equity, and the quick fixer trade that will open with the hedge will protect the hedge, get rid of the hedge when appropriate, and when the price is moving back toward whatever the original trade was. Okay? So anyway, what I have for you today is I have a special, and my assistant Maggie has posted the special into the chat box of the GoToMeeting window. Okay? And the special that I'm having for you, for people who are in this webinar, you are the only ones who will ever have the advantage of taking advantage of the special price, because I am not posting this on my website. But what it is, it's a 3-month subscription to the Magic EA for 25% off. Okay, now a 3-month subscription to the Magic EA right now on my website is $300. So 25% off brings the cost down to $225. Okay, but what I'm also going to give you as an added bonus is a 3-month subscription to the Profit Stop Plus EA, which is an EA that manages your trades the same way that this manages your trades. The only difference is it manages trades that you take manually, and it does not, the Profit Stop Plus EA does not create trades. But if you take trades manually, the Profit Stop Plus EA will go out and seek out those trades, and it will add the profit stops to those trades when they are appropriately profitable. It will move the profit stops as your trades get more profitable. And if your manually input trade goes negative, it will hedge the trade and create the fixer trades. So what it is, it's a trade manager program for trades that you take manually. Whereas the Magic EA not only manages the trades, but it also picks them out for you. Okay? So anyway, you will get both of those EAs for 3 months. Plus you will get, obviously, as much support from me as you need. It's actually a $390 value for $225. So it's very, very close to 50% off for those two EAs. Now the thing is, I've already told you once, maybe twice, that I think it's very important that you use this EA on a demo account for several weeks, maybe a month, before you use it on your live account. So if you take advantage of the special today and you buy the discounted price on the EAs, you do not have to start your subscription to your live trading account until you are ready to do so. So the 3-month period for your live trading account will start whenever you tell me you want it to start. So, you could trade on demo accounts starting today with the EA for as long as you want to. And then when you're ready to move the EA to your live account, all you have to do is tell me, and then, that's when your 3-month subscription that you're paying for today would begin. Okay, so that way you're not going to lose any value, about the licensing that you bought, right? Your licensing does not begin until you start trading it on your live account. So anyway, you might say, well, I don't know if this is going to be a good deal for me or not. Well, here's the thing. This last week, I didn't even have the CEA on all of the pairs. I only had it on these 14 pairs. Okay? And I actually trade 28 pairs, right? But you could put it on all 28 pairs. You might want to put it on pairs that I don't even trade. But you can put it on as many pairs as you want to. But here's the thing. When we go to the account history and we look at what the EA did this last week, and this was still a pretty slow week, right? Because the Forex markets really have not quite shaken out yet of being in their Christmas holiday slump, right? So anyway, if the EA made $387 this week, and if we can assume that that's average, right, then it's going to make about $1,200 to $1,400 in a month, right? Now, let's say you want to look at it a different way. 1 month subscription is $100. Would you trade somebody $100 for $1,200? Because that's what you're really looking at. But let's say that you want to say, but wait, it made $387, but Friday afternoon this was maybe $240. Right, and you could have closed all the trades out and taken a $240 loss. So if we take $240 off of here, you still would have made, $140, right? If you wanted to, at the end of the week, close all the trades that were left over and not run them through to the next week. Now, I'm telling you, if you wait long enough, all these trades are going to be good sooner or later. But there might be some people who would just be happy on Friday to take $140, couple $100 maybe, profit at the end of the week, and then take a withdrawal on Friday, have a clean account to start over with the next week, and go at it again. But I honestly don't ever remember a week using the EA where at the end of any week we had more tied up here than what we made over here. I mean, every single week since I started testing the EA, which was about in March of February or March of last spring, I don't ever remember a week where it left more hanging than what it made that week. Now, I can't guarantee that will always be the case, right? Because you guys know as well as I do with Forex, you can never promise anything in the way of results. They could be different every single week, and dramatically different every single week, just depending on how the prices move in the Forex market that week. But what I can attest to is that I've not seen it happen. But anyway, I honestly can't think of any time that happened. Now, the other thing too, you might be saying, well, I don't know if this EA is going to work with my broker. Okay, and I can help you with that. And if it's a situation where we cannot get the EA to work with your broker, then I would be happy to give you a refund on your money. Now, if you think that you like the looks of what's going on with the broker that I use, if you want to create a demo account with CoinEx, I used to use FinPro. They changed a few weeks ago to CoinEx. But if you want to open an account with CoinEx, just click this link right here, and it will open you an absolutely free demo account to try the EA on. And I'll give absolutely everyone that's in the class today a 1 month free subscription to a demo account to try the EA on, if you're not ready to make a purchase today. Now, the other thing too, if you are interested in taking me up on my offer for a free 30-day trial for a demo account, well, all you have to do is send me an email. See, my email is right here on my website, mindyyost@kc.rr.com. Okay, if you want a free 30-day license for a demo account, send me an email. What I have to have you send me, because I actually have to create these EAs for each account that it's being used on, I need the last 4 digits of your MetaTrader account number. So in this case, it would be 3726. Okay, that's all I need to know. So all you have to do is send me an email and say, yes, Mindy, I want the free 30-day demo, and the last 4 digits of my MetaTrader account number are, and then just like in this case, it'd be 3726. And that's all you need to send me. And then when you do that, I will send you all the files that you need with instructions on how to load the EA and how to load it onto the charts. And you could literally be trading it when the market opens tomorrow. And so anybody who wants to do that, just shoot me an email with the last 4 digits of your MetaTrader account number, and I'll make sure that you get that. Okay? So you've been a really quiet group. So, and I just really don't see any questions. Nicole says thank you. But anyway, I guess that's the end of the presentation. And I just want to thank everybody for coming and taking your time out of a Saturday afternoon, because I know a lot of people have a lot of better things to do on Saturday afternoon than learn about an EA. But I can pretty much assure you, if you give it a try, you're going to like it, because this is going to be a game changer for a lot of Forex traders. Okay? So anyway, I'll just leave it there, but thanks so much for coming, and keep an eye on my website. I'm always doing something new. You guys know that, and I'll see you soon. Okay? So thank you. Bye-bye.